Third gen Camaro here, 82. Trying to get at the computer here to go through and buzz out a code 42 error. First thing you do is undo the kick panel. Mine's got 3 7mm head hex screws here. And it's just lifted out. This had some leaves in it. There's an old UCLA parking sticker from the dark ages for some extension courses. I did undo the light here, unscrew it, pulled the bulb out just so I'm not draining the battery. Kind of nasty a little bit. This was held in by one screw at the bottom. I don't know if there's one or two. Mine just had one of it in there. I've had this out before years ago. It was the same screw. This sits vertically up into the behind the dash here. And I think they changed this a year or two later. I think in the first models it's held in by this Delrin pod. I think the next one it just slides down a few years later. This is where the prom is. It's BND, I believe is the code number for the prom. And this particular one's a 1225. 610 is actually the service number for the CPU. And it was a little bit grubby in here. There's 2 connectors. This one's got a red and a blue. I think in the shop manuals they tell you it's a white and a black. And that really means for this connector here. And the white one is a little bit longer. It's got, I think, 24 pins versus 22, something like that. But since this stuff's kind of old, you gotta don't force anything. You gotta see how you unclick this to get it off. Now, years ago, I did go through and tap into the temperature sensor line, and I got a shielded wire that goes off to a gauge, so I can measure the temperature. So I'm going to go through later on and undo this and probe from one of these connectors. You hook an ohm meter up and then you check the continuity and stuff to the distributor, because I do have a code 42 error, which is EST timing. And I've never really had that before. Down here there's a lot of crap on here, kind of some grunge. I don't really see any water damage, so I was kind of worried about that. So, anyways, that's how the computer goes out. It is fed up into this hole like this. So, it's pretty easy to work on when it's out like this. And if I got a wiring problem, I don't think it's here. I think it's underneath the engine compartment. I may have a squirrel gnaw on a wire or something. And the heater core's back up under here too. This car's got a bad heater core, so I've got to bypass, and I think you have to take this whole stupid dash off. Years ago my plan was to literally go through and cut this with a knife through here and just pull this panel off instead of trying to take the whole dash apart. So that's a long-term project, but that's about it. And I think in this is an 82. This has got a 4-cylinder with a manual transmission, 4-speed. And so the prom on that is different because the one for an automatic has some stuff about the lockup on the torque converter. So normally if you ever swap a computer out, you take the prom from the old computer, put it in the new one. So if you just buy one by this service number, it may be somebody's pulled the prom on it, or it's got it, you know, it's specific for the type of engine and transmission normally. Now here's a Chilton's manual, 82 to 92, code 42 for 2.5 liter engines, or the 5.0. And so this is the ECM connector, which you unplug. This is to clear the codes that idle for 1 minute. If it comes on, let's say you get a code 42 here. It says they have the ignition off, disconnect the ECM connectors. That's what I just going to do here at the computer. Then you set an ohm meter to on, and you probe between 423 and ground. 423 is the EST circuit over here, pin 19. Here's the two connectors. One's got 22, one's got 24. So pin 19 is a smaller connector right here. So the flow chart on here has got a circuit where it's not okay, check for open. If it's okay, should less than 500 ohms. Then you're going to go check at connector 424, which is the bypass. It's number 10, which is over here. So it says with ohmmeter still connected to 423, which is EST, again probe 424 with test light to 12 volts. So you got a test light with a small bulb, and you're going to pull pin 424 high, which is the bypass. And so then you check the resistance again. Not okay, less than 500 ohms. Okay over 5,000, light on. Faulty ECM, light off. You could have a false error. So then here, it's not okay. You're going to go ahead and check 423 to ground. So you can have a bad ground over here. So anyways, this flow chart here is to check whether you have faulty wirings from the computer in the car to the distributor. In this area on the 2.5 liter, this is really kind of a grungy area at the firewall, so I could suspect that I do have a wiring issue right in here. So to me, that's highly suspect. And the way this works on here is when the car starts, it can be in a dumb mode where it's just triggering off the ignition coil and running on base timing, but normally when it comes up to speed, it's using the EST symbol signal and going through and adjusting the timing based on the vacuum and the engine temperature and things. And so I got a code 42 here, which I've never gotten before, and so that's why I'm going to pull this connector and check this out.